Rob and Slim Show. We're back with Ricky Glore.
Hello.
Ricky, how you doing, dude?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, man. You're a stand-up, playwright, and an author from Cincinnati, correct?
Yeah, well, that's a joke I actually tell is whenever anyone asks me where I'm from, I'm born and raised in Kentucky, northern Kentucky. But if they ask me, I usually say Cincinnati because if I tell them Kentucky, the response I always get is, you're from Kentucky. Isn't that where the Creationist Museum is? And I have to say, yes, it is. One day it wasn't there, and then the next, bam, there it was, just out of thin air.
Oh, are you still in Cincinnati, or are you back in Kentucky?
I lived in Chicago for 7 years, and I've just got to my anniversary of being back in northern Kentucky a year from 2017. So yeah, I'm in Newport, which is super close to the Ohio River in Cincinnati.
Okay. Do you do most of your stand-up and acting in Cincinnati?
I actually haven't done a ton in the area. When I moved back to this area, I was trying to get some things started, and then kind of by osmosis got back into stand-up, which I had been away from for a few years, and started a self-booking tour along the East Coast called the Brew Crew Comedy Tour.
I saw that. I was going to ask what that was.
Yeah, we're going to breweries, wineries, vineyards all along the East Coast, and we just keep on adding dates. I don't know if it's areas that are hungry for entertainment, but we've done about 4 dates already in the last month, all hours away from here.
Wow.
And they pack out. They're having to turn people away. It's crazy. It's been a great experience so far.
That's out here? Is that on like the East Coast?
Yeah, that's the East Coast. Yeah, so that's been... we've done a couple dates up in Akron. We actually have another one coming up. We did Southern Kentucky. We've done a couple in Illinois. We actually have one that's about 2 hours outside of Chicago in April at Distill Brewery that we're doing a show there. They have like a banquet hall. And it sounds funny because it's at a brewery, but it is a legit show. Tickets being sold.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been great. Audiences have been really kind to us. But I do, whenever I want to work out some material, the club that I've been going to since I've been back is Go Bananas, which is an awesomely named club. It's like something being called like the Chuckle Hut, but it's in Cincinnati. So I go up there every now and then and do a 5-minute set to work on some material.
What do you drink at the gigs? Like, do you drink the breweries like beer or anything like that?
So there's 2 other guys that always come. We try to make it a 3-person show, sometimes a 4-person. And part of the perks, including our pay, the brewery always wants us to get shit-faced. Because they're like, you like that beer? Have another. This one is called the Shoplifter. It has 18.7, alcohol content. Yep. It's like, because when you're done drinking it, you're going to steal shit.
You're going out to steal, to loot some shit, yeah.
That's just breweries in general. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. That's how breweries operate.
We had a guy come in years ago, ship out a brewery, and just kept pouring.
You want to try this, guys? Have this. Yeah, you want more of that one?
It's so good. It's so good.
And after a while, it's like all this tastes the same.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, I've been the one driving to these shows, and so 2 of the other comedians that come with, afterwards, the audience there wants to drink with the comedians. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to tell you how they're the funniest one in their office, and you got to smile and listen to them and drink with them. But one of the last shows we did, guy was like, "Can I get you more beer?" And I was like, "No, give it to the other comedians. I got to drive back because the shit they make at these local small breweries, I would say it's just a stone's throw away from moonshine.
It's strong.
In beer form.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They just didn't distill it. That's the only.
Yeah, there was another place called the Dank House, which is we thought it was going to be a weed dispensary with a name like Dank House.
Yes, the Dank House.
This shit is dank. Drink it up. But he gave us a beer, the owner, and he's like, I just want you to know is we don't use a filter when we brew our beer. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
Right? What does that have? Hair and rocks in it?
Yeah, a lunch lady makes it with her mold. And what it means, though, is that it doesn't filter out as much of the hops, so it gives it a kick and makes it stronger, almost like it's like a beer wine.
Wow.
So yeah, I'll have a beer when I get there, and then I will sip that the whole show. And,
yeah, they're like the devil. It's like they just want to get you fucked up, like with that.
Oh yeah, and they want to make it a party too. And I'm a bigger guy, like a Falstaffian man size, so kind of like a Farley situation where they're just like, let's see what he does when he's drunk.
What's the craziest thing you've seen at one of these shows?
Oh yeah, it's the people. When you can see the audience getting progressively drunker while you're there, that becomes a show unto itself. You're up there doing your thing, but then you can see the whole audience, and you're just like, oh, there's going to be some gross mistakes made tonight.
That guy is hitting somebody. That guy is stealing something. Yeah, that guy's getting arrested. Oh, what I wanted to ask you, Ricky, about your plays and musicals. Do you still do that?
We are in negotiations and talking to a local theater company in Cincinnati.
Wow.
Who has just required a new space, and probably within the next year, I'll either be directing one of my shows that I did in Chicago or one of my new shows. The stand-up, it came fast and it came good this time around, so I don't want to divide up a lot of my attention, but I also don't want to give up doing shows, because that feeds another fuel of my soul, because I got to have that, and I'm also doing a movie podcast that, everybody's got a fucking podcast, but
yes.
A movie podcast that I'm having a lot of fun with, and that's picking up steam. But yeah, I think within the next year, one of the shows we did in Chicago called Babysitter Massacre 78, the musical.
I love the title.
It's an homage to When a Stranger Calls, Halloween, late 70s horror movies.
Yeah.
Nice.
With teens all together on New Year's Eve, and, premarital sex, weed, booze, all set to music.
Yeah.
Nice.
And some creepy guy with a mask.
100% in an act. Yep.
I like it. I'm down. That's what I was going to ask what some of your musicals are. That sounds amazing. That sounds so good.
It's cool because there's another show that I wrote within this last year, but it hasn't had a production yet, called Video Nasty, and it's set in one location. It's 1989 in a video store, and the killer is inspired by the random B-movie, horror movie VHSs that are in the video store. And it's not a musical. It's just a straight play.
Cool.
Like a horror play. And because after doing Babysitter, I love doing humor, and the juxtaposition between horror and music inherently makes it kind of humorous and funny.
Yes.
But there was some genuine scary moments, and I thought, I don't know that I've ever seen a horror movie done as a live play. So I wrote it, and I hope to produce it someday, or someone else, if they want to do it. I think that'd just be really cool. It'd be like going through a haunted house, except you have to sit there for an hour and a half while the horror happens around you. Like, you can't leave.
That does sound really awesome.
That does. I was going to ask what some of your favorite plays or musicals are.
Plays and musicals? Oh, my God. I'm going to sound... I went to college for theater.
Okay.
But
I went for a semester and I failed out, bro. I got 0.0.
You failed out of college?
0.0, that's my favorite.
Party way too much.
I had because it was my theater requirement, I had a ballet class at 7:30 in the morning on Thursday Tuesdays and Thursdays.
No, that's not gonna
And
happen.
man, I got by the skin of my teeth. It was nasty.
I think I showed up for one class the first day, and then after that I was like, there's all these parties. There's all these parties every day.
For musicals, I would have to say Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then I have some more modern ones of I've got a boner for Rent. And and I would say Little Shop and Rent are probably two of my favorites. I like some movie adaptation ones, even though the musicals aren't as good as the movie. Like they did The Wedding Singer a few years ago, and I really like that movie. And it's just a fun show. It's not a great show.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I like Popeye as a kid with Robin Williams.
Oh yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But it's Robin Williams.
Yes.
And when you're a kid, like watching any kind of movie,
Yeah.
you automatically get excited. We're not jaded assholes like we are now.
Yeah, I know.
Whenever you saw that Universal Studios logo come in, you knew it was going to be a great movie.
Yes.
Knew you were in for a ride,
the
man.
world turning.
Yeah.
Especially when it was Smokey and the Bandit 2, and the Trans Am pulled around it, and you heard Bert's laugh, and then the cop car came and chased around it around the Universal Studios logo. I love that shit as a kid.
I love the Back to the Future movies. They were probably my favorite.
Oh yeah. Back to the Future. And I'm one of the weird ones that I actually love Part 2.
I do.
Even though the first 30 minutes are dumb. Because they go to the future to change something. As soon as they got back to 85, the thing they changed in the future wouldn't stick.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but I still, that was probably my favorite too. Was my favorite, and
they go inside the first movie that I had never seen that in a movie before. The only thing that's missing is if it had the soundtrack that the first movie had, I think it would easily be my favorite. I wouldn't have to stick up for it as much as I do.
Getting older though, the first stills that's the best, and I didn't like 3 when I was younger, but now I really enjoy it.
Same here.
It's a good movie. You can appreciate it now. I think
I appreciate it a lot more. I don't love her in it, and I like her in other things. But Mary Steenburgen, who's also in,
she's a great actress.
I don't like her.
Yeah, no, she's not likable. That's it. She's just not likable in that.
Well, and I think when I was a kid, I was jealous or I was upset with her because she was taking Doc away from the adventures he could have with Marty.
I mean, yes, that is. You're ending it right there. You Yoko Ono.
Yeah, I mean, as homoerotic as it is, it's like, I need those two guys together. Woman, quit taking them away.
That evil woman.
You're female while. There's a great someone recut up scenes from Back to the Future 3 and called it Broke Back to the Future, and they made a trailer making it look like that Marty and Doc were gay in the Wild West.
I've never seen that. I gotta check that out. That sounds really...
Yeah, check that on YouTube. It's real funny.
That just makes me think of the pre-Rick and Morty that Joseph Rowland.
I was thinking of that as well. The Doc and Marty.
So good. You know what? Here's a show I'm going to drop on you that you might not know, and if you like Rick and Morty, give it a chance. But the creator of this show is actually friends with Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, who do Rick and Morty. And it's a Disney show. It's a Disney original cartoon. It's for kids.
Gravity
but
Falls.
It's really good. Yep, Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
I've checked a few out with my kids, and it's really good. And I've seen the videos where they show how those two shows correspond together.
There's a portal that opens up in Rick and Morty. That shit that they threw in Gravity Falls.
There's a really depressing scene in the last episode where
Gravity Falls.
Yeah, where the uncle is like,
"Oh, don't ruin it."
I'm not gonna ruin. Yeah. It's just
because I've watched a couple, and it just doesn't seem like it's that much of a kid show. It really
it gets really deep after a while. It's
cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think what it does, and kids can still appreciate it, and unfortunately, I hate to be the person that says television sucks, because I mean, John Belushi back when he was auditioning for Saturday Night Live, he was like, I don't want to be on television. Television sucks. I spit on my television. So I feel like every generation feels that way.
Yes.
But I think because there's so many channels and there's so much mass media now that regular television, like, I can't stand, and I'm sorry if there's people listening who love it. I hate Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I hate it.
I hate it so much.
I don't understand why people like it.
I have friends that are obsessed with it, and I'm like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. It's so dumb.
Because
it's so pandery.
I love great sitcoms.
I'm a little bit of a nerd, but like, my parents watch it, and they're like, how do you not like this? They talk about Star Wars and comic books. And I'm like, but it's so forced.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's a minstrel show. For nerds.
Yes.
It's like they're wearing nerd face.
I do like Johnny Galecki just in that fucking what was that movie he was in with Christopher Walken, the Suicide Kings. He was fucking amazing in Suicide Kings.
He's not even really the problem with that show either. It's like that Sheldon character.
I forgot about Suicide Kings.
Oh, amazing movie. Yeah, it's Johnny Galecki. That's the guy that plays what is it, Leonard? Leonard, I think is his character.
Yeah. I don't know. And Sheldon, and then there's a young there's a ring in that towel. There's Big Bang Theory, and then there's the spinoff. Like, how many stupid shows can they make?
They have a spinoff? I didn't even know.
It's about the
young
most
Sheldon.
Yeah, it's the most annoying character on the show.
I was thinking too. What's that other one? How I Met Your Mother. Like, I wanted to love that show too, and I liked How I Met Your Mother. I liked a little bit of it.
The new friend,
but like at a point, I was just like done. Same with Raymond. Like, that was the last one I probably watched a decent amount of. Everyone Loves Raymond, but same thing. At one point, I was just done with it. I
think going back to how I Met Your Mother, like, I liked the first like maybe 2 seasons because I like the idea of just like a bunch of friends that meet up at a bar and they go on these crazy, like, that was really neat. And then it just went like trying too hard to do these romantic relationships, and the whole ending was just like, I don't know what the fuck you guys were thinking. Like, this is stupid.
It's Always Sunny is probably my favorite sitcom from that era.
Yeah,
I've heard that is amazing. I've seen a few of them.
Dude, you got to see the Christmas episode where Charlie just loses his shit.
There was one my buddy Jeremy told me about. They made a musical or something.
The Nightman Cometh.
He's showing me like parts of that.
I'm surprised you haven't seen Always Sunny. Like, it's like right up your alley, dude.
But that was like back when I still don't know what's FX, like channel 48. Like, it's one of those weird channels.
It's like a Fox affiliated.
Danny DeVito wasn't introduced until season 2, right? And that's like when I think it got really good.
I saw that and I loved it. I saw like that season, and
I saw an interview with DeVito, and he said the baby boomer generation knows him because of Taxi, but all the millennials.
Taxi, that was a fucking.
All the millennials know him from
Always Sunny. Yeah.
I know Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yeah, the Penguin too.
Taxi, bro. Taxi. Shit.
I never seen Taxi.
And then another show. This is gonna be a weird one, and I know some people that watch Nick at Night may recognize it or are familiar, but I think it still holds up. Is the Dick Van Dyke Show?
Okay, yeah.
I know I sound like an old person. I'm a 32-year-old, and I'm talking about black and white television, which immediately, if you put that in front of some people, gags them. But it still holds up. It's still so funny.
I feel that way too about All in the Family. Oh my god, like they could not. And just Taxi. I don't think they can get away with Taxi nowadays. I don't think they get away with Cheers or Seinfeld either now.
Yeah, Seinfeld was. Oh my god.
Cheers, Frasier, Seinfeld, all great sitcoms. That you can sit back and watch. I thought, mentioning How I Met Your Mother, I was like, okay, I loved Friends. I like most of Friends. I think the last 2 seasons are pretty fucking weak.
I gave up about halfway through Friends.
Yeah, but I tried How I Met Your Mother because I was like, okay, maybe it's like that. And then I was like, oh, this feels forced and weird and super laugh tracky. So then I was like, maybe Friends was that way too. And I was like, no, they're better actors. They're better actors. Better script.
Yeah, the guy who would get the most laughs out of me on that show is definitely Joey. I think.
Joey, I like Chandler until like I just think it dressed a pill puppy. And I was like, oh god, I'm done.
Well, Matthew Perry has said that people will talk to him about certain episodes, and he's just like, there are 2 or 3 seasons of that show that I don't remember.
Yeah.
From that
episodes will come on, and he'll be like, "I recognize that's me. Don't remember ever doing that."
That was like his who was that? Jesse Spano from Saved by the Bell when she when she got hooked on
so excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
That was his so excited years.
Yeah, from the cat. I grew up on that show.
Me
Saturday
too.
mornings used to be my brother and I would watch that, and then we'd switch it over to Fox.
Yeah.
And watch X-Men the Animated Series.
Nice. Ricky,
remember that.
have you ever seen oh my God, once in a while Adult Swim will play Saved by the Bell. And that's one episode they'll play, and like I'll just laugh hysterically at that episode.
Oh, it's so good it's bad. Yeah.
Yes.
So bad it's good, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a Funny or Die series, and I think these are on Amazon if you have Amazon Prime, called Zach Morris's Trash. And they will they will go through an episode, and a narrator will pause and freeze and highlight how big of a piece of shit Zach Morris was.
That's amazing.
And how he was always screwing over his friends.
That's awesome.
I love too. Did he do a movie? Yeah, he did. The actor that played Zach, what's his name? But he did a
Dead
movie.
Man on Campus?
Yes. Dead Man on Campus. Yes.
With Tom Everett Scott from That Thing You Do.
Such a good movie. Such a good movie.
You brought up
Yeah.
you brought up the X-Men animated series, and like I grew up with that. It's funny because like earlier we were talking about, well, what are your favorite Marvel characters, and mine are Captain America, Spider-Man, and Wolverine, because of just watching the X-Men animated movie. I fucking loved Wolverine. That's how I was turned on to that character.
I mean, that's your Saturday morning. They used to have Spider-Man the animated series.
Yeah, I used to like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on Fox they had, in I think it was 1990, Batman the animated series.
Yeah,
which was
dude.
awesome.
Yes.
That was so good.
Yes.
I used to rush home from preschool. I remember watching that.
Preschool.
Or
Especially like
kindergarten. I mean, kindergarten.
Batman the animated series is one you can go back to and watch now and realize like, wow, this is extremely well written.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. X-Men, I blazed. This is how rockin' my bachelor party was a couple years ago. But on my bachelor party, we had all the seasons of X-Men animated series, and we watched a couple episodes each night during the week. And for the most part, it's pretty good.
yeah.
One of the things that stands out that a lot of cartoons didn't do was that storyline would go throughout a season.
Yeah.
They
would do
didn't
arcs,
just fully
yeah.
reset each episode.
That's very
They would
awesome.
do like 4 or 5 episodes, and they would be called like Apocalypse Part 1, Apocalypse Part 2, Apocalypse Part 3, Part 4, and then
Yeah.
you would get another arc. Yeah,
Apocalypse in 2, Electric Boogaloo.
There were some great villains on that show that they just pulled out to like the condiment.
Well, they were very. Oh, you're talking about Batman. I was
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
Yeah, pretty much like the condiment king.
That's Batman.
It was
yeah.
the
we were, talking
Drizzt.
about, we were talking about the arcs in X-Men, how they would carry the arcs.
Oh yeah,
like they
okay.
did the whole Phoenix saga.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Who's your
Yeah,
favorite
and they had,
superhero,
what
Ricky?
was it, Mojo?
Mojo, yeah. Arcade.
Yeah, who lived on the other planet and ran a reality show.
Yeah, yep.
Nice.
Dude, I don't know. You said reality show, and the first thing that popped in my head was Captain Planet, because there was an episode of Captain Planet where they were stuck on a reality show, and I used to fucking watch Captain Planet all the time, and it was just
Me
like,
too.
I couldn't do that one.
I used to hate
Anything
that.
with superheroes when I was a kid, I would watch.
heart, water, fire, earth, wind, with our powers
And everyone
combined.
stops and they're like, wait, heart, what do you do? I don't
Yeah.
know, I make macrame. Cookies.
That was like one step up from like the Cavity Creeps to me, like that commercial. Like,
Oh, God.
who was
Yeah.
that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's what that reminded me of. That crappy.
So you were talking about favorite superheroes.
Yeah.
I grew up on a lot of old movies. I grew up mainly on 60s television because my dad showed me. So like
Nice.
Adam West is my Batman.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love 66 Batman.
Yes.
I grew up on the serials that they used to do before movies from the 40s. But so I grew up a lot on DC. I liked Marvel, but
Yeah.
I like Superman, and I feel like there's a section between people of like, you either like Spider-Man and you hate Superman, or you like Superman and you think Spider-Man's okay. Like, I don't know anyone that loves Spider-Man that loves Superman.
I like them both. Last week, I was wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt with a Spider-Man hoodie. Today, I'm wearing a Superman t-shirt with red shorts.
And he's got a Superman tramp stamp.
I have a Superman tramp stamp and Spider-Man tattooed on my belly.
No, he's got a prison tattoo of a spiderweb on his dick head.
The thing about
is that your web slinger?
I just shot a little webs. What were you saying, Sam?
well, the thing about Superman is that he had some really cool villains, like Brainiac.
Like we were talking about, like the Bruce Timm, like the Batman animated series at the same time. They had the Superman animated series, and that series was actually really good. Like I started rewatching that. It was very decent.
Smallville. I did
like Smallville. I was a fan of Smallville.
Oh my god! So my first apartment, my friend and I, it was the first time we each lived away from home, and we would spend our Fridays and Saturday nights, if we were off work, we would go to Walmart Superstore, each get a 1 pound bag of Cheetos, popsicles, and a whole bunch of other shit. Yeah. Come back, get super baked, and we'd be like, all right, what are we watching tonight? Smallville or Friends? Like, we were the biggest
one or the other.
We would just sit there high as kites, eating Cheetos, passing out, waking up with orange shit on our hands, and Smallville just running on the loop.
We can go a little bit longer.
Do you want to go a little longer?
Yeah, no, we don't have to cut off. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Ricky, what did you do first out of everything? Did you do stand up first or acting?
I played football, baseball, and I wrestled. I was a state wrestler. Always kind of had a foot in doing like chorus and loving comedy and stuff throughout high school. But then my junior year of high school, our football team didn't win a single game, and in our last game, I messed up my knee and was in a wheelchair for about 3 months and had to get multiple knee surgeries. And after that, I auditioned for the school musical, got it, and from then on, acted throughout high school. Went to college to become an English teacher originally, because my mom was very much instilled in all of us that, like, oh, go to school, and whatever you go to school for, walk out of school with a job in hand. Like, it better be applicable.
Yeah.
So after a year, I really wanted to do theater, and the school I went to, Northern Kentucky University, had a great theater department. And as much as they were like, no, you can be a non-theater major and audition and get stuff, they also had a great improv team. And I was like, oh, this is everything I want to do. So my brother, my half-brother, because I'm my dad's only kid, and that falls into line in the story a little bit later, I was like, hey, can you help me tell mom and dad that I'm going to switch my major to theater? And he was newly out of the closet, and he's like, yeah, sure. So we had a Sunday family dinner, and we just wrapped up, and my brother's like, hey, mom and dad, Ricky has something he wants to tell you. So my dad is sitting at the table. I just see the blood drain from his face. And he's like, you're not gay too, are you?
He just dropped that on us. What do you got to tell me? Yeah. I would be like, oh. I love how he set you up, too. He's like, Ricky's got something to tell you.
He wants to be a theater major.
Which is about the same as being gay.
I was going to say, do it, Dad. It's about the same.
But my dad here, who I'm a junior too, so I'm like my dad's only male lineage. I'm the only one to carry on the name. But my dad, after hearing that I just want to be a theater major, he raises his head. He's like, "Oh, great, yeah, do whatever makes you happy." My mom, on the other hand, is sobbing. She's like, you're never going to have a job. You're never going to be employed.
Ooh, yeah. Have something to fall back on.
She supports everything that I do, and she sees everything, and she loves it. And I do have a 9 to 5. But so that I switched majors. I was desperately trying to get on the improv team because my goals were, as everybody who loves comedy, Saturday Night Live, going to Chicago, Second City, Improv Olympics.
Yeah.
And I auditioned for the improv team, and I couldn't get on. I kept on getting rejected. So local comedy club, the Funny Bone, I was like, you know what? I want to get a job there serving and observe stand-up. Okay. They had an 8-week class that at the end of it, you got to perform in the club. So I was like, okay, that'll give me my chance to get on stage and be seen.
Yeah.
That coupled with working there, got to be able to make something happen as long as I just keep plugging away. So I did that. I started getting booked regularly. My first weekend was with Finesse Mitchell from Saturday Night Live. Loved it. So in 2005, I started doing stand-up regularly, hosting a lot of weekends, working with Jim Brewer, Kevin Nealon, Tommy Davidson, Damon Wayans, Tracy Morgan, which, oh my God, everything you see of Tracy Morgan on 30 Rock, that is Tracy Morgan.
It is Tracy Morgan, yes.
I didn't know him from Adam, right? I'm sitting in the green room our weekend together, and the way it always happens is the comedian comes back to the green room, I introduce myself, I say, hey, my name's Ricky, I'm going to be your MC for the weekend. How would you like me to introduce you, blah, blah, blah. And he comes back barreling with a rollable suitcase and looking pissed, and I'm like, oh, he's not going to be a good guy to work with. He looks up at me, and he goes, oh, hey, White Bear, are you going to go make people laugh tonight? And starts tickling me. There's a picture of Tracy and I. There's one of him looking super serious, and then there's another one of him kissing me on the cheek. He is just ridiculous. He was great to work with.
Yeah.
But so I had a great time doing that. I eventually got on the school improv team, started doing plays, started writing sketch shows, and then I moved to Chicago, where I kind of pulled back from doing stand-up because I wanted to do improv and sketch and play with others. And then I got tired of that, and I was seeing people that I was in the community with actually get on Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
And I'm not a big drinker, and there's a lot of schmoozing that goes on that I reassessed what I wanted in life, and I was like, man, if they offered me the job tomorrow, I'd take it, but I just don't have it in me to do what I think I need to do to get closer. Like
I was going to say,
my first year up there, I was in the presence of Lauren Michaels 3 nights in a row.
Wow.
Seeing shows at Improv Olympics in Second City, because I was working at Second City my first year. And it was crazy, right? It just felt like it was right there, so close, closer than it would ever be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I was just like, I have other dreams and goals, writing shows and doing them, what I like. I'm going to keep performing, and if I get notoriety from that, and that call comes of like, do you want to audition or do you want to submit a writer's packet?
Yeah.
Great.
It's kind of like a trap, I feel like. I like you said, like, just, I don't know, like, I just feel like going that route would limit you. It would limit you if you had other things you wanted to do.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's obviously you do that. There are people who do it for half a season, maybe get fired, but it's still, they have that on their resume, and they can do whatever they want.
Exactly.
There's some people, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall, would you ever remember them being on Saturday Night Live?
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 guys right there. I mean, it's not like it hurt Robert Downey Jr.'s career.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But then you could end up like, I don't know, Chevy Chase. Like, I feel like he's just way overrated. Like, fuck. Remember his fucking...
Those are the bad ones.
Didn't he have a really bad like talk show for a while too, like or a late show?
Oh, in the early '90s, it was when everyone was trying to I love that I'm talking about this like I was like 6 years old when this happened, but I'm a nut of history of knowing about this shit.
I like that you know that.
Him, Arsenio, Joan Rivers, Pat Sajak all had a talk show when Carson was getting ready to leave.
Yeah, that's it.
They're like, this is the time. Like, because people don't like Jay. If people, if we're going to take over late night, this is the time. It's kind of like in the mid-'90s, when Mad TV happened.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was a year.
I don't want to remember that.
It was a year. It was a year after SNL had one of its worst seasons, the 94 to 95.
Oh, I still couldn't.
And so Howard Stern tried to do a sketch show. Rosie O'Donnell tried to do a sketch show. There was the Dana Carvey sketch show.
Yes.
Dana Carvey used to try to do it? Oh, wow.
That's where Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert got hired. They were both performing at Second City, and he hired them. Louis C.K. was one of his head writers.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, and didn't David Carlson, what's the guy that played Saul? Odenkirk?
Oh, it's Bob Odenkirk. Yeah. Well, Bob Odenkirk was the SNL writer and from Second City as well.
And the Mr. Show, too.
That's what they were. Yeah, they had the Mr. Show. That's what it was.
The only other show...
You got Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, Kids in the Hall is pretty cool for its thing. But I loved, what was that one? In Living Color. That was the only one, like...
Oh, yeah.
Besides SNL that I really dug.
Only the Clown and fucking was the fireman with...
Fire Marshal
Bill.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something.
Handyman.
Yes!
Yeah.
Up and away, and he would just fall out of the window.
Incorrect.
Yes! That's another thing they can never get away with anymore. Like...
There was Chris Rock doing a full-blown... He was on SNL and in Living Color.
Yeah, he went back
doing that full-blown sketch from... what was... Was it I'm Gonna Get You... It wasn't I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. What was the movie that Chris Rock does the... I'll pay you a nickel and let me lick the rapper? Because he did he turned it into a sketch on In Living Color, but it was from a movie that he had done the bit, and it was he goes into a bar, it's kind of like a homeless guy, and he's like, how much is a beer? And the bartender's like, it's $3. He's like, oh Lord, that's a lot of money. How about I give you a quarter and you let me lick a glass that someone had previously drank?
Yeah. He's actually, I think,
he's like, how much is a song on the jukebox? Oh, it's 50 cents. Good Lord, that's a lot of money. How about you pay me a nickel and I'll hum it to you?
Yes. He actually, I think, has a new special coming out soon.
He did. It's out. I just watched it.
Is it good?
I like it. I'm real analytical when it comes to like watching movies or anything. I can lose myself and have fun. But he hasn't done a special in 10 years.
He got too political for me.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing is, so last week, obviously, there's the Parkland shooting.
Yeah.
The first 30 minutes of his special is about guns and gun control.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
Yeah, I would cancel it at that point. Like,
it's hard to watch. It's good. It's poignant. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just hard to watch.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then he talks about he just got a divorce from his wife of 16 years.
Oh wow! I know it.
And he's like, it's my fault. I cheated. He's like, I cheated on her. That's why we're divorced.
Wow.
So he's basically just talking about his.
With that.
He's just talking about his depression.
And now I can do stand-up again.
Well, it's a little bit like he's on the psychiatrist stuff, but maybe that's what stand-up is.
Here's why I want to commit suicide.
This is why I'm back up here, motherfucker. It's like, back up on stage.
That's what I think.
Yes.
He hasn't done a special in 10 years.
Yeah.
He goes through a divorce, and then half a year later, he's like, Chris needs some money.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he knew he had to get back into comedy, so he had to make his wife wouldn't let him, so he had to cheat to get back in. Like,
well, a cool thing that he says, but again, it's still a little hard to watch, is he's like, when you want to cheat, he's like, it's because you're tired of what you have, and you want something new. You want that new girl. You want that new woman. He's like, after you cheat, your wife's the new woman because she will never be the same and look at you the same as she did before you cheated on her.
Wow. That's interesting.
That's dark.
So almost like saying like you cheat just to make it more exciting to fuck your wife.
right?
Like that's like
fuck you.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, dude, that's
you were boring, so I cheated on you to make you more exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, he turns it back on her. It's like, it's your fault that I had to bang those hoes.
Yeah.
You drove me to it. Damn you. But yeah, maybe it's part. Yeah, he does need money, but it's cathartic to him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
To get this shit out.
Yes. Ricky, what upcoming projects do you have? Can you talk about those?
Yeah, I actually one that's not out anywhere or being talked about yet, because it's just not done, is I'm actually putting a book together. There's a part of my act that's called Napkin Thoughts. And it's basically because even though I have a smartphone, which is a tiny computer, I still doodle and write jokes and thoughts, like disconnected thoughts on napkins. So part of my act is 100% just reading some of those thoughts, which a lot of them are one-liners or extended bits. So there's a couple local artists in Northern Kentucky that I was like, man, I think it'd be fun. I don't want to sell a CD at a show. I mean, most people download all their stuff anyway now, and a CD just seems so cheap, and I don't know, just it seems like something from the 90s. I was like, I'd love to put together like a little picture book of these napkins, and you guys add some drawings to it. But it's cool. like an adult children's coffee table book.
Yeah.
So we're going to be putting that together. Hopefully in the next month it's going to be printed, and it's going to be called A Thesaurus is Not a Dinosaur and Other Napkin Thoughts.
I like that. I like that.
So yeah, I'm going to be selling that at shows, at a merch table afterwards. And I think that's nice because it'll contain some of those one-liners that I do in the show, a bunch more that aren't in the show. And so when people are like, oh, what'd you do? Like, oh, I saw this comedian. They're like, oh, tell me some of his stuff. They can show them the book and be like, well, here's his brand of humor.
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome, dude.
The other thing we do, I kind of mentioned, is a podcast called Cinema Toast Crunchcast. And it's important that it's Crunchcast because there is another podcast called Cinema Toast Crunch. And they're just a bunch of dudes from West Virginia that rate and talk about movies. So ours is Cinema Toast Crunchcast, and we just completed our retrospective on the Friday the 13th film series.
Wow.
And with that, I found out how much I dislike the Friday the 13th film series.
Whoa!
Wow, it's the
really?
same movie every time.
Wow! See, I love the original.
I like the original.
I love the Rob Zombie remake.
A lot of those movies, though, comes down. Well,
No, you're talking about Halloween.
Oh,
you're talking about Halloween for Rob.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
Friday
actually
13th.
never gotten into Friday the 13th. Yes. Okay.
So I grew Friday.
The first one is good. First one is hands down. It's a mystery too. It's a good mystery movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's the mom's the killer. It's a solid film. But then, man, those movies, character development, it's
Jason Goes to
dumb
Hell.
dialogue, terrible acting.
Jason in
Jason goes to
space.
camp.
Isn't there one in space?
You know what I group it with, which is probably really bad, but I love the first Friday the 13th. I love the first Leprechaun, the ones after that. So I group Leprechaun and Friday the 13th kind of together. They're in that group. And maybe with Nightmare on Elm Street too, but there were a few Nightmare on Elm Streets that I really liked. Like I liked the first one, and I loved New Nightmare.
I think 3. I love the remake.
That's what we're doing right now. So we wrapped up Friday the 13th. We're really lucky. We got an interview with the original writer and creator, Victor Miller.
Wow,
we got a couple interviews. We actually got Victor Miller. He had never seen any of the sequels.
That is amazing.
That's fucking awesome.
He just refused to see them.
We asked him,
It's not his work. Why am I gonna watch that shit?
Would you review one of them with us? And he was like, absolutely.
Wow.
And so I sent him a list of the descriptions of the other films that we hadn't done yet, and he picked Jason Goes to Hell. And we watched it. He reviewed it with us, and then from that, the director and writer of Jason Goes to Hell, Adam Marcus, did an interview with us where Sean S. Cunningham, who was the original director of the first one and has made bank on these movies, had him do the movie and gave him a bunch of weird directions, like, I don't want to see the hockey mask, because Sean S. Cunningham didn't have Jason with the hockey mask in his movie. So he's like, if you can keep that hockey mask off him as much as possible, great. And of course, fans didn't want that. But so people have bitched at Adam Marcus for years. Wow. And there's a clip online of Sean S. Cunningham saying that Adam Marcus is a fucking liar when he tells that story.
Wow.
So for the first time ever, Adam Marcus on our show was like, I want to say this. Sean S. Cunningham is a liar.
Oh, wow.
So cool.
And so it was awesome because my co-host did the interview, and I was like, hey, and I didn't know anything about this. I was like, what are the questions you should ask him? And, it probably won't happen. I was like, ask him if there's something he has never said in an interview that he wants to get off his chest. Wow. And it just opened a floodgate where he called Shaughnessy Cunningham a eunuch, and it was amazing.
Wow. I was going to say, I know, I think it was like last October I came home because my dad he loves horror movies, and I forget which one he was watching, but he's like, I'm watching this Friday the 13th, and I think he watched like half the movie, and Jason wasn't even in it yet. He was so pissed.
Yeah.
It was one of the later ones. Like, he's like, I don't even know what I'm watching.
Jason X.
Jason in space.
Jason takes Manhattan.
They are so bad, but we are
Jason without Jason.
Of the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And we just started those. We haven't released any of them yet, but the first episode, our special guest is Sylvia Sage, who is a hardcore adult film actress.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wrote that down. I wrote that name down.
He wrote that down with his meat pencil.
Yeah, with my meat pencil.
Yeah. Sylvia Sage. That's
Sylvia Sage. Yeah, it's saved. I'll be looking at some of her movies later tonight.
Well, so I was going through looking for guests. We've had on comic book writers like Mark Draco, who's a New York Best Times selling author. Have him come on and talk about Friday the 13th, and it was hilarious. But we hadn't had any female yet, and I was like, oh, this is a fucking sausage fest. I was like, we need to get a female comic on here. And I saw that she was a comic in L.A., and I was like, oh, great. And so I sent her the invite, and she's like, let's do Elm Street. And I was like, well, we might as well just start the Elm Street retrospective then and do the whole series. Mm-hmm. And then so I locked her down and booked her down, and I was doing research on her, and on her Facebook page it said stand-up comedian, so profession stand-up comedian / adult film actress. And I was like, how did I not see this before?
You're like, wait, I'm asking her to talk about fucking Nightmare on Elm Street. We should just be doing a porn scene together.
Nightmare.
Why aren't we doing a scene together?
I'm like, has she just done a couple skin flicks? Like, to what degree? Was she in the Hustler or something? And so I looked. No, she is a legit porn star. Like, if you go to Pornhub and put in her name,
yeah, I will later.
There will be multiple. I'm going to do it right now, and you're going to listen.
You're going to watch me.
Yeah. But yeah, she has pages of videos,
4K.
so she's legit. And so yeah. We're going through the Nightmare series, which is a personal favorite, and we're also doing a fan request series, which was, have you guys ever seen the science fiction horror movie Cube?
Yes.
I've heard
I saw, which one did I see? The one I watched recently was maybe the second one. I watched like bits and pieces of it on Netflix, and it was interesting.
Oh, that's garbage.
It was interesting.
Oh, no, you can say it. The second one is a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so like I don't know if it was the second one. All I know is that like they're in like this white room and they keep climbing into like other rooms. Was that the second one?
Cube 2.
Okay, that was Cube 2. Yeah, it was kind of, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And then, like, at the end, like, the main character, they're like, oh, you did your job. Like, she escapes and then she gets shot. Spoiler alert. And then gets shot. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, I don't know what the fuck just happened here. But the first Cube you're saying is worth it.
The first Cube is solid. We are going to be releasing that series. There's 3 of them. The third one is a prequel. So then we're going to, Elm Street's going to take us a little bit, but what we're going to try to do is start the Halloween series and lead us up to Halloween, because there's the new one that's supposed to come out in October with Jamie Lee Curtis.
I did not know. Ooh. Holy fucking shit.
Wait, Halloween you said?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
With Jamie Lee Curtis?
So they're retconning. So H2O happened, and they acted like that 3 through 6 never happened.
Yes.
So they could have her back.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're acting like 2 through everything else never happened, and that this is just going to be a direct sequel to part 1.
Wow.
Are they
That's
getting
bold as fuck?
Are they getting? Is John Carpenter coming back at the helm as the director?
He's producing. Actually, the writers and directors, one of them is Danny McBride, the comedian who's in a lot of the Judd Apatow stuff.
I love him.
Oh, I'm sorry, I confused.
He's one of the writers.
No.
I just confused. It's Wes Craven who's that. John Carpenter.
I know you did that. Yeah,
I fucked it up.
No, you didn't. No, you got it right. Wes Craven is Nightmare on Elm Street. John Carpenter is Halloween.
I love John Carpenter's films. Like everything he has. They're great. They're perfect horror films.
The Thing.
Yeah. The Thing, man.
If you haven't seen The Thing in a while, watch it. There's not any CGI. It's all practical effects, and it's super scary.
Yeah, even the new one, like that was a prequel. I thought was great. I thought they did a really good job on that. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh no, it's stupid." I'm like, "No, it's really well done." Like they did a lot of homage to the original.
So then, so I mean, if you haven't, we also did. If you've never seen it, it's kind of an obscure horror franchise, kind of sci-fi. Our first retrospective was the Phantasm films.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
with the silver spheres. There's a couple good ones in there. It gets a little off the tracks, but that's a fun one. And then besides that, if anyone lives in any of the areas where we're doing our stand-up shows, the Brew Crew, if you want to see what my schedule is like, the best place to stay up to date and see any clips is rooftopro.com. So it's rooftopro.com/artist/Ricky Glore, or follow me on Twitter at Ricky Glore, or on Facebook at Ricky Glore.
Awesome, Ricky. Thank you so much for talking to us, man. You're fucking amazing.
No, do it whenever you want. If we can just gab about the movies we like, and we talked about Saved by the Bell, but no one mentioned Tiffany Amber Thiessen, my first crush.
What about stuff like Dawson's Creek?
Let's not go.
I'm a huge Dawson's Creek.
You don't want to go this route with
Slam,
Ricky.
Yeah.
You have a Katie Holmes crush?
What was it? I don't know who was Joey. Was that Joey? I was obsessed with fucking Joey.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Katie Holmes.
Yeah, that was it.
Do you know who she's with now?
I have no clue. I just liked her as Joey. I don't know anything else about her. Is she with Tom Cruise?
No, she was married to Tom Cruise, had a kid. She's dating Jamie Foxx now.
Wow. Django.
Yeah.
How unlikely of a pair, if you had to put two people together, would you ever guess that happening?
Never. Never, dude.
I don't want to wait for our lives.
Ricky, I'm going to let you go before Slim sings this. But where can everybody find you, brother?
As I said, Twitter is probably one of the best places.
Cool.
I keep updates there. I shoot jokes out, shoot dumb ideas. It's at Ricky Glore, so it's the @ symbol RICKYGLORE. Do iTunes for Cinema Toast Crunchcast. Crunchcast is all one word. Subscribe, download, listen. Send us suggestions of what movie series you would like us to do. We usually try to do stupid like cult, horror, action, or sci-fi. Awesome. One of them we did that's not a retrospective that we actually just recorded was the 1987 Sylvester Stallone movie Over the Top.
Okay, nice.
Do you guys know what that is?
I do.
I don't.
So
it's the arm wrestling movie.
Yeah, okay, I've seen that movie.
Who was the black guy now? Was that Debo from fucking from Friday? Oh,
from Friday? There is one black guy, and he's right at the end, and he's one of the arm wrestlers.
Zeus.
There's surprisingly little arm wrestling that goes on in that movie.
Oh my god, wait, I did see that movie. I do remember when I was a kid. Yeah, I remember watching that movie.
He's driving cross country with his son, who he's never met, in his semi-truck, because he's a trucker too, and he's going to Vegas for an arm wrestling competition. Yeah. Now, the craziest thing is...
As a kid, I just thought I was watching Rocky. I don't know why.
Wait, it was like between Rocky.
It was like a prequel.
It's Rocky movie ever.
It was Rocky the prequel.
watch Over the Top, which got panned. It's not a good movie. It is so bad it's good.
Yeah.
But then watch the 2000s Hugh Jackman movie.
Yeah.
Real Steel.
Yeah,
it's the
Real
same
Steel.
goddamn
Dude, that movie was so fucking terrible.
It was Real Steel with the robots, and they were like,
It's the same movie as Over the Top, except for this dad is driving a truck with his son with robots, like giant rock'em.
giant rock'em sock'em
It's like
robots.
it didn't work the first time. Why would you try it?
It's not gonna work this time.
It might fucking work.
And
this
robots.
time, guys. We got robots.
I got it.
And then in like 10 more years, they're gonna have dinosaurs within
I
it.
think we got a summer blockbuster on our hands.
Let's just redo Real Steel with dinosaurs.
Real
There's
Steelosaurus.
just someone sitting there in Hollywood, a writer, who has the same treatment that he's been selling since Over the Top, and he just erases like what the thing is that fights. He's like, I don't know, an ant farm. A guy's driving around an ant farm, and he's having them compete.
That's amazing.
And he's with, instead of his son this time, his daughter that he's never met.
He's got a stepson. This time.
He's got a
nephew.
pet chihuahua he's never met.
And 3 gerbils.
That chihuahua that he's never
Richard
met.
Gere is
The gerbler.
like, I don't know if that's an adjective. That's an adjective noun. It is now.
It is now.
When you gerbil, you're a gerbler.
Ricky, thank you, bro.
That's on the poster.
So much fun talking to you.
Welcome to Gerbil Dome.
Welcome to Gerbilville.
Population
Where we
3
gerbil.
in my ass.
I don't know how much you gerbil, but I'm always gerbling.
I can out-gerbil
What
you.
about Driz? You get into that gerbil?
Yeah, I don't fuck with gerbils.
I get into what about the doctor? Does he get into German gerbling?
I use them in my experiments all the time.
All right, Ricky, before the
You had me at gerbil. Oh, sorry. I thought we were doing gerbil-thon.
we were for a while.
I'll gerbil you later, Ricky.
We'll let you go, Ricky. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, thank you guys. Have a great night.
Awesome. Take care.
You too, dude.